Recording in progress.
Perfect. So my name is Natalie, and I'm the state director here at Skills USA New Mexico. I think Christian mentioned that my position is housed with CNM. I'm hearing some feedback, so I'm going to go ahead and mute all the people. Perfect. That are unmuted, and then we can unmute yourselves down the road. But so Skills USA New Mexico is a career and technical student organization. Like Denise mentioned, we work with schools across the state. Skills USA New Mexico specifically works with over 50 middle, high school, and college post-secondary programs all around career and technical education, and trades is one of our most popular career clusters that we work in. So trade, welding, carpentry, plumbing, the whole 9 yards. And so my role today is to facilitate these two questions that Christian introduced. But before we do that, I want to take an opportunity for everybody in our breakout to introduce themselves. So I am going to pick on John first, because I know him. If you'll say your name, who you're with, and then if John, you want to pick on the next person until we've finished all the intros, that would be great.
Righty. Thank you, Natalie. My name is John Bronis. I'm the Apprentice Program Coordinator and a Technical Training Instructor for Wagner Equipment Caterpillar here in our Albuquerque office. I provide mainly instruction along with my colleagues for our South Territory, which is all of New Mexico, far west Texas, which means El Paso, as well as Durango area. We also, of course, cover Colorado, but our northern colleagues take care of that. I've been here a little over 4 years. Prior to that, I was at CNM for 19 years, teaching and later on in administration over career and technical programs. I'm likewise an automotive graduate in the very early 1980s from then TVI. So I have kind of a tight connection there. Anyway, I'm sure I'll say more because I use lots of words, but I will say, I'd like to, I haven't met Kat from AGC.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kat. I'm with AGC, Associated General Contractors of New Mexico. I've been in this position two years now. Hey, yay. I didn't realize that. I'm new to the CTE program conversation since I started this position. And so I'm looking forward to learning more about it. But I am the master trainer for the NCCER curriculum. So here at AGC, we do sponsor schools for NCCER. So if you guys have a current CTE program or looking to develop one and need a curriculum and need someone to talk to, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will pick on Ken.
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ken Ortiz. I'm the president of the New Mexico Automotive Dealers Association. We represent 97 franchise dealers in New Mexico. 6 months, I'm in my 6th month on the job. I retired from state government at the end of June. So hello, fellow PED employees, and thank you for all the work that you do. In traveling and visiting with our dealerships, automotive technicians is in high demand in our jobs to fill. So I'm basically new to this and learning. I'm thankful that I was invited to this event to start the conversation and what I could learn more and what we as the association and the industry can do to support the skilled technical training. And with that, I'll turn to Steve at SWCTF.
Well, good morning, everybody. Or afternoon, actually, now. But my name is Steve Singletary, and I'm going to wear 2 hats today. I represent the Southwest Carpenters Training Fund, which is the Carpenters Apprenticeship Program. And because I hijacked the link from our union side, I'm also representing the Southwest Carpenters Union because I registered late and didn't get the link in time. So, and John, it's good to see you again. I haven't seen you since SAC, but before that, it's been quite a while since you were at CNM. Actually, it's good to see you again.
Nice to see you as well.
And I don't have the participants up, so I'll let the facilitator decide who's next.
Great. I'm going to pick on Kelly. Kelly, would you go ahead and introduce yourself? All right. I am gonna pass on over to Joan. Joan, are you with us?
Am. So my name's Joan Baker. I'm the Outreach and Engagement Director at the UA 412. My significant other is the HVAC Training Coordinator at our apprenticeship program. So I get to hear about all of that every day. One of the primary reasons why the local 412 brought me on, one of my primary priorities was to get skilled trades back into every high school. So just really excited that this is happening and to be here, and that there's funding for this, and so just thank you for having this.
Thanks so much. And so the other two folks, Elaine, you already met, who's with the College and Career Readiness Bureau. And I should have, introduced Kelly with AGC as well. So thanks for hopping on. Like Christian said, one of you will be doing the report out. So essentially we have two questions and it's hitting one highlight from each question for the last half hour when we're back together in the main session. I am going to do two things. First is I'm going to share my screen because we're going to be using something called a Padlet to capture your responses to these questions. So you can see they're both up here. We're going to spend about 8 minutes on this first one. What is one thing that can be done to better prepare students for employment in your industry? And then we're going to do the next 8 minutes on the second question. So in the chat, I'm putting this screen that I have shared with you all right now. So if you would go ahead and click that link in the chat, it's going to bring up your own Padlet again. And I'm going to ask that you all click this little plus sign, and each of you do at least one response to this first question, which is, what is one thing that can be done to better prepare students for employment in your industry? And I should ask, because I see Steve. Steve, can you actually see my screen?
I can see your screen, but I can't get to it. I'm on somebody else's iPad. It's different than mine, so.
No worries. If you
I
would
just need the link so I can get it on my phone.
Oh, okay. Or what you can do is you can just type something in the chat and then I can throw it in the Padlet for you.
I can do that.
But if everybody else would just kind of think for a minute and then answer just this first question. What is one thing that can be done to better prepare students for employment in your industry?
And I got to change it to you, right? Instead of everybody.
Can you ask your question in a different way?
Can I just tell you verbally and you put it in?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Work ethic.
What is one thing? Okay. Work ethic.
Yeah, there's no swing shift type stuff in construction. You got to be there by a certain time, period. End of story.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I see, great. And I see Kelly also put in internships. All right. I see it's quiet from the other folks on the call. Are you able to access the Padlet, or do you want, okay, I see some nods from Kat, so.
And Kelly, you're with AGC, so internship should also be pre-apprenticeship because they're similar, but not quite the same.
Correct. I heard, and I apologize. I've got very spotty internet service, so I'm kind of in and out. Correct. I heard a mention to apprenticeship readiness, and I think it's got different terms: pre-apprenticeship, apprenticeship, or readiness. Kind of like critical skills and soft skills. So, yeah, to answer your question.
Right. Definition wise, if it's called youth apprenticeship, it'll be under PED. If it is pre-apprenticeship, it'll be under our workforce solutions. So definitions means the same thing. It's just who oversees it.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Has everyone? Yeah, I'm going to start to, ask folks to kind of expand on some of these things. So the first one y'all heard Steve say was work ethic. Showing up on time, I think, was your example. Totally agree. So Steve, okay, yeah, we'll leave it at that for now. And then internships, Kelly, was there anything that you wanted to add, or Steve, to the internships item here?
Well, on internships, like I said, that could be youth apprenticeships. Because with the youth apprenticeships, you don't have to worry about the 18 mark for construction, you know. That's one of the things that we're trying to get Workforce Solutions to lower that age down to 17 so that we can actually get true pre-apprenticeships in high school. But right now, the easiest path is youth apprenticeships, but they won't be necessarily construction related, with the exception of if they want to go towards project management or something like that, where they can go to the office, it's fine. Right, but it has to do with workers' compensation rules, trying to get those changed a little bit.
Agreed.
Yeah, and what other barriers do you all see, in addition to what Steve you mentioned, for internships, for students accessing those internships? What are other barriers?
Well,
The
one of
barriers
things-
has to do with the school year.
Okay, so Steve is saying school year. Kelly, were you gonna add to that?
Yeah, my question's more around the intermediaries. So we know that there's a value in internships and job shadowing, but who is the intermediary that brokers that employer and education relationship?
And my understanding is that there's, many an agency, right? So there's the Department of Workforce Solutions that works with registered apprenticeships. There's many non-registered apprenticeships and internships, right? That are kind of word of mouth, I'm going to call it, and very localized. Does anybody want to add to other locations or places that they've kind of experienced or want to work with for that,
Well,
brokerage relationship?
in some cases, if it's a dual credit program, it'll be the college. It'll be the college that's going to oversee that. Correct, John?
Yes. If it hasn't changed in 4 years and change.
4 years, yeah. That's the last time I was on an advisory, so, yeah.
And I think that's both right for the students and the business industry partners, where to go for that information. I think is kind of a gap that I'm hearing now and definitely have been hearing. The kind of third item here was understand career pathways. Can whoever wrote that in there share a little bit more about what they mean by understand career pathways?
Yeah, this is Joan. I put that. So I feel like sometimes students get into a program in school and they don't understand the different pathways when they come out and like what that looks like. So they could come, to the especially if they're welders, they can come to the UA into an apprenticeship, or like there's other career pathways when it comes to the construction industries, and I think that they should explore that and what that looks like while they're in, like, where do they go next?
Yeah, what are their options, both for internships like we just talked about, and kind of even more broadly?
Well,
I think a little more of the broadness of it is just like understanding, because they're like, oh yeah, I like playing with the metal right here, right now, but I need to go to college and get a degree in accounting so I can make $50,000 a year. Well, if you just stayed in welding, you'd have made more than that. But they don't, just redefining the trades.
well, Joan, I can tell you, and since you're with 412, you can ask around your office and they'll tell you the same thing. Sometimes it's very difficult due to the outside political influence for a lot of the schools to allow us to come and address those students individually, or at least per class. Most of the time when we get invited, it's for a gigantic job fair.
Right.
And we kind of get washed out with all the other stuff going on. And there's a lot of instructors that are in these CTE programs at the schools that are scared to even bring it up to their administration to see if we can come and visit. So I think that a lot of this is going to have to, come from PED to actually educate, in my opinion, the student counselors, because the counselors do have more sway over the admin than the instructors do. So that's where it needs to start, because especially when they're trying to determine their paths. And I would love for them to actually start focusing on paths in middle school.
Yes, even elementary school, I think Denise's point of younger engagement is better. I also noticed that kind of the next 3 points, I'm assuming Ken had the next one because it's about auto, but he's again talking exactly I think what Kat was saying about opportunities and understanding what's out there. And so he listed great things like tours and mentorships and apprenticeships as some brainstorming. I see even further below that, we're talking about exposure to IT. I think Kelly might have written this about opportunities for that hands-on opportunity. I'm going to kind of shamelessly tout career and technical student organizations like Skills USA. It is my mission to better support both business and industry and local schools and chapters in making those connections for things like, meet the employer, for tours. And so I will be following up with all of you kind of after this, because we have the trades connections through Skills USA New Mexico.
Well, Ken, I have a question for you. Does Ford still have their apprenticeship program in Hobbs? Do they still have that school?
I understand that there is a technical school in Hobbs. I'm not sure if it's sponsored by Ford. Natalie, part of my thought behind my comment was, in the automotive technical field, it's not only those that, if you will, turn the wrench, but now that EVs are here, it's much more computer automated and needing those that have those computer skills to basically provide updates and see what's going on the IT end as well. And I see it right there. So, but Steve, to answer your question, I'm not sure if Ford does that. I saw Mike on the main Zoom meeting, and he would know because he coordinates with all the schools. And I'll look through his card and get his last name. I don't remember it, but maybe that's a question when we get back there for you to ask him.
I know at one time, the junior college in Hobb had a traditional automotive program. They also had the setup with Ford dealers. They had General Motors. Don't know if that's still the case. And Ken, also, just as you're easing into this role, the San Juan College up in Farmington as a traditional program. I believe they still have Toyota, Honda, Chrysler, or what Chrysler is called now. Yeah. And they may still have General Motors for the new car dealer side.
Is there a group, or is this some sort of forum where those colleges and other trade schools could partner with the industry and have these types of collaborative meetings? What's the best way for me to approach that as the new guy, if you will, coming in?
Try to get on their advisory committee.
But advisory committees are helpful with the school, like San Juan College and their advisory committee. But I think, Ken, your point of across colleges is what I'm hearing would be also incredibly valuable. And so I'm going to make a note just to see, because I also work closely with San Juan College. If something like that exists, I'm not aware of it, but I think proposing something like that could be a really great takeaway.
Well, and Natalie, there was a time back in my instructional time at CNM in auto many years ago, we kind of had a nice informal connection, actually by way of Skills USA. That's how we got to know each other. The Hobbs folks and what have you. And so there was a network, but it was informal. And I would think you would be one of the best points of contact, because you know who's who these days, because I'm not the only one who's moved on.
And I've heard a lot of those connections though are vertical, right? So it's the high school to the college post-secondary and not necessarily across those age levels. Right. But yeah, I have that as a key takeaway. I'm gonna move us along just because I want to make sure that we get to the second question. But before I do, is there anybody who hasn't been able to share anything on this first question that wants to get a last word in? Looking at you, Stephen, or anybody? Okay, all is good.
I'll make one last note, and then I think it is a good segue, is just changing the preconceived notions about our industry. I think it's more than just teaching the critical skills and the career exploration. It really is about those preconceived notions. So you've got it there. Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Great. So this, thanks for tying us up for the first question. The second one is, what do you want schools to know about your ability to support their programs? Steve, Kelly, whoever, if you want to put in the chat, you're more than welcome to. If you are able to put your comments in the Padlet, that would be very helpful on my end.
Well, I can verbally say it. We have high school curriculum that's available for carpentry. And it also includes soft skills and has certification levels built into it.
And this is through the council.
Well, actually, it's through our international. So it's through the United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners of America. So we've got high school curriculum that is open to anybody. It doesn't promote unions or anything like that. It was just provided. We provided it because we are all in the same boat, where we need to revitalize the skills in the high school level. And besides the NCCER or now the new MC3, there really wasn't anything else out there. So we spent a lot of money to put this together to make my job easier when I actually get a hold of them. So it's nice if I don't have to go start from scratch, if they actually have some basic skills by the time I get them. So.
Great, thanks for that, Steve. Sorry that I kept butchering your last name when I was typing it in. I know, yeah, there's some other curriculum resources that folks have. I see the second comment is, we are a company that welcomes internships. Who wrote that one?
That was me.
Awesome.
So and I'm with Plateau, and we are a telecom. And my role is I run the IT for the company for the internal support, and also manage the managed services group, where we do IT for companies such as auto dealers and construction companies and stuff like that. So where we can offer internships is, we have accounting internships, we have technical internships and that kind of stuff. It's kind of a little outside the scope of this first round for what these groups are talking about. But what I would like to offer is that regardless, my experience as a managed service provider is that in working with all of these different companies we work with, everybody needs IT, and just basic exposure to IT can really make a difference in an applicant or an intern, and just their ability to do some of the functions that aren't necessarily related to the actual function of the job, but much like Ken was talking about with EVs, the landscape's changing. So
yeah, that's 21st century skills. Absolutely.
Right.
Thanks, Stephen. This next one, we're here. We care. Yeah, great. That's important. We want to build and maintain a solid working relationship with you. We can provide guest speakers, skills to support, tours, etc. Was that you, John?
That was me. I have the good fortune of working for a company that already I've experienced my employer from when I was on the educational side of the desk. And it's not a brag, it's just an example of we still try to get out, whether it's guest speakers, whether it's managers who make hiring decisions, visiting classes. And we're not the only one who does this, et cetera. So go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh man, we have one more minute. Thanks for that, John. I see a comment about training facilities. I see a comment about additional curriculum, internships, tours, existing connections with local high schools, and additional training, and OSHA training. Perfection, thanks. So knowing that we have 30 seconds left, I'm wondering if one of you would be willing to kind of give a short recap when we're back with the larger group in 25 seconds now about what we discussed in terms of value of, opening students, eyes to opportunities in their career pathways, talking about the curriculum, the facilities, and all the resources that you all mentioned here for the second question. Would one of you be willing to do that report out for us?